welcome to Pepper Rose. It's our pleasure to have you watching this video. But unfortunately, since you are here, your artifact inventory might be full of either base trash or road trash. Farming artifacts is more difficult than clearing a base floor shelf. Don't feel you are alone, we all share the pain. But the good news is, your bad luck on artifact farming might be ended soon because we plan to make a couple videos talking about the tricks in how to have better artifact dropping results from the artifact domains. Besides these dropping tricks, we also plan to make a couple of other tricks videos, such as artifact enhancing tricks and character banner rolling tricks that will definitely help you save your money on your character polling. Okay, coming back to the artifact dropping tricks. This video is our first video in this trick series. And before we made this video, we didn't find any similar videos on the YouTube. So the overall concept might be very fresh to you. It's very important to introduce some basic logics and theory in this very first video. Please be patient and bear with us. But making this video is very time consuming and we are not sure whether players are interested in this kind of contents. So if we can get 500 likes for this video, we will make the second half. That is the real meat of the theory, such as finding the specific signs for double critical artifacts. I don't think we're greedy, right? So, only 500 likes. And if you really love these contents, don't hesitate to share it with your friends. Okay, let's start.
Okay, first I need to clarify the idea of fake randomness. As many people know, computers cannot simulate true randomness. But here, I'm not talking about that. What we are trying to say is miHoYo is using some well-designed mechanism and making it look like a random. This mechanism added more work compared to just picking a seed number to simulate the random artifacts in our farming process. So why is doing that? Because miHoYo needs to exclude the extreme cases and make every player fall under the normal situations. Think about that as in this normal distribution. If the artifacts are dropped real randomly, a few very unlucky players will never get artifacts they want. Of course, they will quit the game because of the terrible playing experiences. But on the opposite, a few very lucky players will always get their desired artifacts with a very limited resin. So they always find nothing to do in this game and will quit the game as well because of these boring gaming experiences. So these two groups are outliers. The outliers are not expected by miHoYo because they want to keep as many active players as possible, of course. That's the biggest motivation for all gacha games to use this fake randomness mechanism. So what to do after knowing the existence of fake randomness? We can take advantage of that, of course. As long as it's an artificial designed one, there should be some common rules we can utilize. These rules are the basic rationale for me to develop this theory. I know some of you might disagree with me, think the artifacts are dropping on a true random basis. I will not argue with you. This video might not be for you. You can just stop here and save your time. That's my advice, so trying to make the whole world peaceful. Okay, I'm just kidding. Continue. Next, we would like to explain the existence of interval loops in the artifact domains. Did you recall any time you farmed a few rounds but only got HP flowers, HP circlets, and HP sands? The domain seems like to be cursed by HP. If you did, I gonna tell you. In this situation, the interval is HP dominant. HP dominant doesn't mean all HP, no other stats. Impossible, right? Because in Genshin Impact, each artifact piece have so many spots for all different kinds of substats. So HP dominant only means HP is the most frequent stat. Of course, HP will not always be dominant. The stats in the domain are flowing from one interval to another. So you might ask, what did you say? What's an interval? Yep, interval is a period of time between farming rounds when certain stats are dominant. And we have 3 intervals, namely trough interval. This interval means all the stats are trash. Next, expansion interval. In this interval, good stats start to show up. The third is peak interval. The interval has the highest chance to get at least one double crates artifact, sometimes even multiple double crates. This term sounds fancy, right? Of course, because an elegant lady like me named them. So just kidding, another kidding. Okay, going back to the intervals. From the terms, you can tell these intervals show some sequences. Like in this graph, peak normally followed after expansion and expansion followed by trough. After having these interval exceptions, it's clear to us, in order to get double crates, we need to determine our current position in this interval loop and how far away from the peak interval. It sounds pretty simple, right? Doesn't it? But something you need to note. There are 3 general rules. The first, the positions in the loop for different domains vary in the same day. Second, the starting position has some randomness for every artifact domain. Third, if doing co-op, the position is determined by the host position. The overall logic sounds simple. As long as we can determine our current position, we can estimate how far away we are from the double crates. A few of you might think, okay, now I know how to do, I'm ready for an artifact expert. But please don't be excited too early. The reality always slaps in our face. There are still no couple challenges I have to tell you, unfortunately. The challenge number 1. In some cases, the overall sequence of the different intervals in the loop is clear. Trough, expansion, peak, and then repeat. But we can't simply conclude it always follows this sequence every time. For example, expansion can be followed by trough directly. Challenge number 2. The length for each interval always varies. Precisely, from expansion interval, it can take 8 rounds to reach the peak interval, or it can take only 2 rounds to reach it. There is no simple rule to determine what interval would appear first and what interval will be followed. Now, I guess some of you might feel down, but no worries. That's why we plan to make a series of videos about that. Hopefully, we can have the second half video talking about how to estimate the current position, interval sequence, and interval length. It really depends on how many likes we can get. So we will see. Okay, the next major thing I want to cover is the concept of value consumption. Since the situation for substats is more complex than the min stats, here I need to talk about the value consumption only for substats. In this video, the 5-star artifacts are our target, so we only use 5-star artifacts in our examples. For any other star level artifacts, the overall logic is the same. You can still apply the theory on other star levels. I do not recommend spending too many resins on any artifacts that are below 5-star. As the name suggests, value consumption. There should be having value first, right? What's a value? The value in our theory is a contribution in the DPS. Flat defense, flat HP, flat attack, defense percentage, and HP percentage are the most unwanted substats in Genshin Impact, so they are low value. Well, energy recharge, elemental mastery, and attack percentage are in the middle place, kind of between the trash substats and the crates. They are the median value. Now you know what I would say next, right? Yes, critical rate and critical damage are high value. After we got the basic idea of what the values are, now we are moving on to the value consumption. To make it easier to understand, we can treat the farming artifacts as the same as our saving behaviors. We can think in this way. Getting low-value artifacts is like depositing money into the bank. Getting artifacts with one critical stat is like withdrawing money from the bank. If the withdrawal amount reaches a certain very high amount, we can get a double crates. To achieve that, we need to deposit as much money as possible first. If we have enough high balance, we can reach the desired withdrawal amount, which means double crates. Makes sense, right? So in other words, if we keep getting more and more low-value substats, the probability of getting extreme high-value substats, double crates, is higher and higher. On the other hand, if we already got one double crates, the chance of getting the next one immediately is lower and lower, because the balance left in our bank is not enough. Now we know consuming enough low-value substats would increase our chance of getting high-value substats. In our example, we need to deposit the money first. But in reality, how can we know how much money we need to deposit before we can reach the required withdrawal amount for double crates? That's a very good question. The answer is, it depends on today's length for each interval and interval sequence. If the length for trough interval is very long, and the interval sequence is like trough, expansion, trough again, and expansion again, the trough expansion would appear alternately several rounds before we actually reach the peak interval. We only have 180 free resins per day, so it's very impossible for us to have enough resins to finally reach the peak interval. So determining the position and the length is so important for us because it definitely helps us save our resins. In the example I mentioned, sequence is trough, expansion, trough again, expansion again. You might be very curious, so what happened here? After got lots of low-value substats, or trash, the system is trying to compensate us. However, the balance in our bank can only afford the median value, attack percentage, elemental mastery, and energy recharge. At that moment, the system has no other choice but to treat the median value as a critical rate and critical damage simply. It's so hard to keep climbing the mountain slope to reach the true peak. So that's the reason. And what happened here, we might experience after getting median value substats, the substats in followed farming rounds go back to low value substats. Due to the time limit, because we know, not so many people love long videos, in this video we only cover basic and general concepts. That's very important, it's kind of like how you lay the foundation. Without watching this video, if we can make to the second half, you might find some difficulties in understanding what I'm gonna talk about in the second half. It's very important to watch the first one, of course, this video. But of course, I know after watching this video, you should have lots of questions and confusion. As I mentioned in the very beginning, if more than 500 people like this video, we will make another video talking about how to estimate current interval position, the interval length, and how to utilize the value consumption to find a possible size for double crates, which would significantly increase our probability of getting better artifacts and save resins. The reason for trying to get 500 likes is we're nobody on YouTube. Since we just started our channel, if I release all my tricks in the first video, it's so easy to be copied by any copycats. If that happened, it's very likely nobody knows we are the original author of this theory. But after that 500 likes, our video has already gained lots of attention. That's the best we can do to protect ourselves. Hopefully you would understand that. Okay, I have to go. Feel free to share your farming experience with us in comments below and don't forget to hit the like button. Happy holidays! See you next time.